Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I am Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. And in the crazy world of the crazy medical profession, things get crazier and crazier. We've all heard about the Veterans Administration and the bad stuff that's happening there just because of bureaucracy, right? They can't figure out their own paper trail. They can't treat patients appropriately. They can't treat patients. They can't treat veterans in a timely manner. And, I could argue that this is not a bad thing because when they do treat patients, the treatments that they use are outdated, old-fashioned, allopathic, reductionistic nonsense. Dr. Wallach, a veteran of the armed forces, a colonel in the Air Force, has said many times, and rightly so, that there are two times you can give your life for your country: on the battlefield and at the VA. But nonetheless, right, the wheels of justice move slowly and government changes one funeral at a time. But guess what they just did? They elected, or they're considering, it's Senate hearings right now, he's unopposed, to have a new director of the Food and Drug Administration. I forget the man's name, but he was the past CEO of Procter & Gamble. Now, you may wonder why that's a bad idea, because around the turn of the 20th century, Procter & Gamble made a deal with the American Heart Association. Procter & Gamble made a deal with the American Heart Association. The American Heart Association was a branch of I don't know if they're related to the American Medical Association, right? But the American Heart Association was a standalone professional entity, and they were struggling. They didn't have any funding. They didn't really have any clout. They didn't have any representation. They were struggling, bumping along. Well, Procter & Gamble came along and gave them a sweetheart deal. They gave them, I think, $1.5 million. And in return, the American Heart Association promoted the use of Crisco. They promoted the use of Crisco, which Procter & Gamble owned. Crisco, of course, a nasty trans fat, which causes heart disease, which causes clogged arteries, and which used to be used as a machine lubricant. But Procter & Gamble said, oh no, we've got all this stuff and we need to sell it and we need to move it. And so they made a sweetheart deal with the American Heart Association in the early 1900s, and the American Heart Association started saying, oh, you guys got to use this stuff. So this is why we switched from lard and butter to margarine and Crisco. Right? Remember, that's what you grew up with, right? Isn't that what your parents said? You got to, remember when your parents threw their lard and butter out? I remember when mine did. I remember when we switched to margarine. I remember cans of Crisco in the house, no problemo. Well, this, of course, led to an accelerated generation of heart disease in the United States, and now heart disease is either the number one or the number two leading cause of death in the United States. I think it's number two. Leading cause of death, MD-directed medical therapeutics. Second leading cause of death, heart disease. Third leading cause of death, cancer, right? So, medical doctors kill more people than cancer. Medical doctors kill more people than heart disease. Go figure. But we have our heads so far stuck in the sand that we don't know what's going on. And so the person who was, I don't know if this guy was responsible for it, but his company was, Procter & Gamble, responsible indirectly for millions of cases of heart disease, is now going to head the Veterans Administration and, oversee the delivery of medical treatments to our veterans. And if that isn't putting the fox in charge of the henhouse, I do not know what is. But this is the way that it goes in Crazy Town, and this is where we currently live, Crazy Town. And it's not just the USA, it's Canada, it's the European Union, it's South America, it's Africa, China, Japan. It is everywhere. The world medical market is dominated, hook, line, and sinker, by the pharmaceutical industry. And again, It's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. We're not against drugs. You can use drugs to heal people. You can use drugs appropriately. I mean, every time I go to the dentist, I thank God for Novocaine. I mean, don't you? I thank God for Novocaine every time I go to the dentist. Drugs, when they're used appropriately, are good things. Drugs, when they are used inappropriately, well, you know, facts are a stubborn thing. They are, in fact, the leading cause of death in the United States. And along these lines, I want to bring a little levity into the conversation here. I want to read you an email that I got today from my father-in-law to be. Today I swung my front door wide open and placed my Remington 30-06 right in my doorway. I left 6 shells beside it and then left it alone and went about my business. While I was gone, the mailman delivered my mail, the neighbor boy across the street mowed the yard, a girl walked her dog down the street, and quite a few cars stopped at the stop sign near the front of our house. After about an hour, I checked on the gun. It was still sitting there right where I had left it. It hadn't moved itself outside. It certainly hadn't killed anyone, even with the numerous opportunities it had been presented to do so. In fact, it hadn't even loaded itself. Well, you can imagine my surprise with all the media hype about how dangerous guns are and how they kill people. Either the media is wrong or I'm in possession of the laziest gun in the world. Well, I'm off to check on my spoons. I hear they're making people fat. Get it? Got it? Good. It ain't the gun, it's how it's used. It ain't the drug, it's how it's used. The way that MDs use drugs, the leading cause of death in the United States, the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, and I would assume if we were to crunch these numbers in the European Union, it would be the same. I would assume if we were to crunch these numbers in Canada, it would be the same. For goodness sake, in the great province of Alberta, they spend nearly $50 million a day to prop up the medical system, which is failing. $50 million a day. This amounts to somewhere between 40 and 50% of their budget. Between 40 and 50% of their tax revenue dollars go towards propping up a failed medical system. So why on earth doesn't the government of Canada embrace longevity? If they did, you know how many billions of dollars they would save every year? Why doesn't the government of the United States embrace longevity? Why doesn't the government of the United States make it mandatory to license naturopathic medicine in all 50 states? Why doesn't the government of Canada make it mandatory to license naturopathic medicine in all of the provinces and all of the cities in Canada? Why don't they do that? Because they're in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. And they don't give a crap about your health. Or, you know, if they do, they have been hoodwinked and brainwashed by Big Pharma into believing that the only way down the medical highway is the MD's way. And every other way is, you know, a bad way, a dangerous way. And they're wrong. And we suffer because of it. We suffer all of the time because of it. And we need to do something. I mean, we really need to do something here. So I'm pleading with you. That's not the right word. I'm passionately asking for your help. I am passionately asking for your help. If you have been listening to this show and you are on the fence about longevity, then talk to the person who invited you to this radio show. Talk to the person who told you about this radio show and get them to explain to you the nuts and bolts of the longevity business opportunity. If you found this radio show on your own, then get in touch with my team. Go to my website, click on the Join Team Glidden button, and someone from my organization will call you up and get with you and talk to you and answer any of the questions that you have about what we're up to here. There's 2 ways that you can interface with us. You can just talk to us about health recovery, and we'll give you advice for free about what you can do to nutritionally support your body, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. We'll also tell you about the business opportunity. These two things are mutually exclusive. You don't have to do both. You can do one and not the other. But I'm requesting, I'm encouraging, I am gently persuading, hopefully, you to get on board with the business opportunity offered by Youngevity, because this is the way that we're going to change the world. We will pay you. Well, we won't pay you, but Youngevity will pay you. Youngevity will pay you to help us spread the message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Because if you're waiting around for the government to do it for you, you're going to be waiting for a long, long, long time. If you're in the chat room here watching the live feed, I want you to make a promise to yourself. I want you to promise to yourself that you're going to invite 10 people to this radio program every day. You're going to invite 10 people to this radio program every day. We have 43 people in the house right now. If 43 people invited 10 people, we'd have 473 people in the house tomorrow. And then the next day, we'd have 4,700. We'd have a lot of people. This is what's going to need to happen in order for this word to populate, in order for this word to spread, in order for this to reach the next level. We must be active, politely active, with sophistication, simple enrollments. I know a doctor that says you don't have to suffer with that. No kidding. Here, I'm going to give you a link to this radio program. I'm going to be there in the chat room. I can't wait to see you there, too. It's tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central Time. It's going to be really great. Can't wait till you're there. That's all you have to do. 10 people a day. 10 people you can have that conversation with, then you are on the road to success. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hang together. Let's lift each other up. Like the fella said, a rising tide lifts all boats. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I am your steadfast advocate for health, and I'll be back going to talk to Mary in Oregon after these messages. Stick around. Put up the picture there for those of you on the live stream of our good friend from Miami, Abiezar Amoudi, who has had one of the top 10 testimonials I've ever heard in Youngevity. Such a remarkable transformation in that man's life. Thank God for Dr. Wallach. Let's go to Oregon now and see what Mary's up to. Hey, Mary, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
One time, a while ago, I can't call very often, you asked if people knew of some good-tasting gluten-free beers.
Oh, my God. Do you have a list for me?
I hope so.
Let me get my pencil out. I am ready to rock and roll here, Mary. God bless you. So what do you got for me?
Well, the reason I say I hope so is because their brewers are the ones that say they're gluten-free, and we might disagree, but they are good. I can tell you that much. They're really good.
Okay.
One is Omission.
Omission. Oh, that's an interesting name, right? I like that. Yeah.
And their gluten-free IPA is a very good-tasting beer.
Nice.
It's brewed with malted barley, specially crafted to be gluten-free.
Yep.
Their CEO is a longtime celiac.
Oh, really?
And he claims that it has less than 20 parts per million.
Gotta love it. I'm good with that. No problemo there.
Okay, great. All right. Now, I was told at one time it was only available in Oregon, so that could be changing, I've also heard.
Well, thank God for the internet, right? I mean, this is one of the wonders of the internet. I came across another gluten-free beer just a month ago that I found in a local liquor store here. One of these big box liquor stores, right? It's called Greens, GREENE''S, and they have a number of different ones. My favorite is their blonde ale, Greens Blonde Ale. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen in the listening listening audience, we get no kickback from any of these companies from promoting their products. We don't screen the calls. I have no idea what people are going to say, so we just tell it like it is here. And I think this is one of the reasons why this show is so popular, because, we're kind of unadulterated. It's the unadulterated truth, honest to God. So I appreciate that, Mary. Omission IPA, yeah?
Yes. Now there is one more that even tastes better.
Oh my God. I'm on the edge of my seat. Hit me.
It's made by Harvester Brewing.
Yep.
And it's also an IPA. And
Yep.
they call themselves a dedicated gluten-free brewery. The drawback here is that the fourth ingredient on their list is certified gluten-free oats, which you and I know better. But
Yeah.
Do you think that is something we need to consider in this?
I think we need to consider that, because as far as I'm concerned, I would have to call them and I would have to have a conversation about them, because, there is a little protein of gluten in the oatmeal grain. It's entirely possible that there's a way that they can remove that. I'd have to figure out how they did that, and I'd have to look at the process to see whether they're blowing smoke or fooling themselves. But if they did develop a process to remove that, then I'm okay with that, because the gluten part of oats is a very small part of the protein. And this is where, if I was king of the world, everything would be different, because research like this would already have been done. I am of the opinion, based solely on clinical experience, that even when you remove the gluten from the oatmeal, the proteins that are left are just as difficult for your body to digest as the gluten proteins are. So, I'm really kind of on the fence when it comes to oatmeal, and I always like to err on the side of caution, right? So I'm probably going to say that because it has oatmeal in it, I'm going to pass on it.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I was tending. I just thought I'd find out if you knew more. And yes, they do welcome phone calls.
Okay. Maybe I'll give them a shout. Do we have a number 3 on the list?
No. No, I think they're good. I mean, I know lots of gluten-free beers, but those are the only two that you can remember the taste after you've had them.
And that's important, right? I mean, that's important because, for goodness sake, beer is one of life's delights, quite frankly. And that's been one of the hardest things for a lot of people in the Longevity Nation to kind of, wrap their head around. Well, I'm okay with going gluten-free, Doc, but don't take my beer away. Well, finally, we have at least one nice runner here for Top Dog, Omission IPA, brought to us by Mary from Oregon. Mary, I appreciate your support. Keep up the good work. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Much more to come. We're back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. We're having quite a lively and robust chat here in the chat room that comes along for free with the live video stream, which is free. Check it out. You love the radio show, you're going to love even more the video stream. The Dr. Glidden Show. .tv. That's THEDRGLIDDENSHOW.TV. Minnesota's on the line. Let's go and talk to Clinton about liver spots. Hey, Clinton, what's up?
Hey, how you doing today, Dr. Glidden?
Pretty good, Clinton. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I got a couple pieces of good news for you based upon the diagnoses that you given here in the past, and then I want to ask you, can I get some detailed information on the Cocoa Devity product and the Z-Radical product, because I'm very interested in them. The one thing that I want to touch base on is the one diagnosis that you gave to one of the clients that I'm working with about his prostate. He's gotten the blood work back, and it's actually showing that this thing is starting to be reversed. So the Tangy Tangerine, the Prostafex, the Psyllium, the healthy joint pack and the Shell Shield is actually doing what it needs to do, and him staying away from the 10 bad foods is actually getting the fruit that was really desired. And so me and him was just really overjoyed with that type of information coming back. Then
isn't it wonderful? I mean, isn't it great? I mean, this is why we do what we do. Now, remember, just to be clear here, we don't diagnose or treat things in the context of the radio program. What we do is recommend people get on board with nutritional programs, the intention of which are to support their body's ability to fix itself. Now, what you may want to pay attention to with him is what his MD says about his improvement. Because if you had dedicated your life to the service of humanity as a physician, if you'd gone through, 16 years of training to be a physician and you were, on it to help people relieve their suffering, right? And you had a patient, or you had a patient, and they had a problem with their prostate, and the numbers were bad, and the numbers were accelerating, and they had bone and joint issues, and they had blood sugar issues, and whatever. And your therapeutics were not helping them. And then they did something afield from you, and it did help them, and you had the evidence in front of you. You had the before blood work and you had the after blood work. Wouldn't you be curious and want to know what that person did? Wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
His medical doctor isn't going to care. And I want both you and he to pay particular attention moving forward here to how his medical professionals respond to his improvement. Because how they respond to people's improvement with stuff that they didn't recommend is telling about their mental state. And this is one of my most important foundation messages here. This show is called Fire Your MD Now for a reason. It's not because, we're prejudiced against them. It's not because we have an axe to grind. It's because their therapeutics don't work. And when they are faced with evidence, scientific, indefutable evidence that there's something else in the world besides what they were trained in that works, they disregard it. They bury their heads in their sand, and they are, to be shunned, in my opinion, because of this type of behavior. So pay attention to how they deal with this information moving forward. It can be very eye-opening for you.
Here's another thing, too. Last week I had spoken to you about a client that I was working with about uterine cancer. The doctors had told her that she wanted to get her tubes tied, and somehow they got to her and told her, no, you need to get in here immediately. And they started putting this fear over her, and then they brought her in. And when they brought her in, they all of a sudden told her that, you got these polyps that are cancerous and so forth. And so they referred her to a cancer center. And so she was, I had to deal with her the whole week to get her braced up to say, wait a minute, let's hold on here because you are healthy, and all of a sudden now this has happened. It doesn't make any type of sense. Well, what happened is she went to her family doctor, and when she went to the family doctor, the doctor was telling her, hey, everything looks good. Everything is, looking very good. So they ran all these different tests on her, on different parts of her body and the blood and different things. And they said, yeah, we're a little concerned with the white cells, but nothing, that would go overboard. So what happened is she was confused, and she asked her family doctor, she said, hey, I just went here to this specialist, and they told me all this, and it's totally different from what you told me. and so she's because that tells that them two weren't communicating. And then the family doctor is actually on point. She said, look, I have a chart, and this chart doesn't say that you have cancer. And so they were going to refer her out to start these treatments that would potentially kill you. And now she's wanting to request from this specialist the records, and they don't want to give her the records.
Well, that's because that's because they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, right?
There you go.
That's right. And this is what happens when you're king. right? I mean, it's a bad metaphor, but the same thing happened in the Deep South when slavery was legal, right? The slave owners treated the slaves like crap. They did whatever they wanted to with the slave, and they got away with it because they could. Well, guess what? When you own the show, when you're the king of the hill, when you're the emperor of the castle, you can do whatever you want, and nobody's hands are going to get slapped, and there's going to be no, it's a problem here, man. This is a problem. So when I from time to time, I'll have a private practice in a state in which I'm licensed. I'm currently licensed in the state of Minnesota, and I have a small medical consultation business there, and the name of my business is A Second Opinion, because everybody needs a second opinion, especially when it comes to, a big bad voodoo daddy surgical procedure that in this case they didn't even need. And yet, the doctors that made the original recommendation to have the cancer treatment, nothing's going to happen to them because this is the way that the world goes. And honestly, man, it's just one more reason for people to fire their MDs now.
Hey, Dr. Glidden, real quick, on the Cocogevity and the Z-Radical products, is there any more detailed information besides what I've pulled up as far as the flyers and different things on the Z-Radical and Cocogevity that I can get the detailed research, that goes a little bit more in depth?
Not a lot. I did a webinar, I think it's in the archives. I did a webinar about a year ago on fucoidan. And, that's the active ingredient that's in the Z-Radical. Cocogevity isn't my favorite product. If I had to lean on a longevity product that had chocolate in it, and the reason I would do that is because I'm going for the antioxidant ORAC points, right?
Right.
Hands down, what I would do is get the Triple Treat chocolate. The Triple Treat chocolate has more antioxidants in it than any other longevity nutritional supplement. Now, the problem with Triple Treat chocolate is because it's chocolate, individual squares of chocolate in the summertime, if you order it, they have to ship it in a refrigerated truck in refrigerated packages. Otherwise, when it shows up on your doorstep, you've got, melted chocolate. So it's a little more expensive to buy the Triple Treat chocolate in the summertime just because they have to ship it in a refrigerated container. So what I do is I stock up on the Triple Treat chocolate in the fall and the winter so that I have enough to carry me through the summer months when the shipping is excessive. So if I had to make a determination, am I going to do triple truffle chocolate? Am I going to do Triple Treat chocolate? Am I going to do Cocogevity? I'd do the Triple Treat chocolate hands down. The Cocogevity is a fun thing to have around, especially if you've got kids, because, if you put the Cocogevity in some milk, right now you got chocolate milk and it tastes great and there's nutrients in it. You can put it on ice cream and now you've got ice cream with chocolate sauce. It tastes great and it's got nutrients in it. That's what I like to use the Cocogevity for, is kind of, kind of the icing on the cake for treats every once in a while. But hands down, man, as far as I'm concerned, Triple Treat chocolate all the way. And in a perfect world, right? In a perfect world, everybody in the world would do one bottle of Z-Radical a week. One bottle of Z-Radical a week. And that's that gets expensive, especially because it's a network marketing product. And the price points of network marketing products are higher than retail price points, and there's a good reason for that. So, look, man, you want to really be healthy? Work your longevity business up so that you can afford one bottle of Z-Radical a week. And you start doing that, you're going to see some remarkable changes pretty quickly. And the way that you're moving here, man, Clinton, I don't think it's going to be very long before you accomplish that goal. Are you going to go to the September event, Longevity September event in Vegas?
I'm pushing my way to that right now. And so there's other ideas that I'm brainstorming with my team lead to really push forward what I'm doing right now on a big scale, and I'm not going to really go into depth in that, but when it really goes forward and really happens here, then I'll release it. But real quick, and I'm going to let you go here, about the Cocogevity. One of the things that intrigued me about that product was that it had 135,000 ORAC value points in it. Am I off?
No, that's 135,000 in the bottle, right? So if you divide 135,000, I'll do it right now. I've got my calculator out. I love the computer. 135,000 by 32, right? 32 ounces in the bottle. That equals 4,000 ORAC points per ounce, 4,218 ORAC points per ounce. Now, one piece of Triple Treat chocolate has 19,000 ORAC points. So that's why the Triple Treat chocolate has way more bang for its buck. I mean, 19,000 is better than 4,000. So, that's where, and they should label that better, but it's 135,000 per bottle, and that's an interesting distinction to understand.
That's what my struggle was, trying to figure out how they're calculating up the ORAC value. Do you know a good site that I can go to really get that broken down in layman's terms?
Not really. You really have to muck around for it. One of the best sites I've found to help people figure out food ORAC points is oracfoodvalues.com. ORAC food values. That's with an S. .com. But remember, ORAC is based upon weight and, amounts. So, if it says, clove says 1,000,000 ORAC points, well, you have to figure out how many cloves contains that much ORAC and so forth and so on, because the weights and measures when it comes to ORAC are everything. Appreciate your call, Clinton. It's always fun to talk to you. Now get out there and change the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Check out the live stream, thedrgliddenshow.tv. Back after these words. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're coming here of your own volition, visit the website. If you're listening to the live internet stream, then visit the website, drglidden.com. Click on the link for Team Glidden and find out how you can become a member of Youngevity Nation. If you're listening to this on a radio station somewhere in the United States of America, then call the number of the radio station that you're listening to in order to get information about how to get the products we talk about at the wholesale price and the business opportunity that's available to you. Also, these two things are mutually exclusive. You don't need to do both. You can just get the products and help your body to optimize its health, or you can join Youngevity Nation and help us spread our message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified nutrition. Now, if you were led to this radio program by a friend or, somebody, a living, breathing human being, and you like what we're talking about and you want to learn more, call that person back, get with them to get your questions answered, to see how you can interface with Team Youngevity. Youngevity Nation worldwide. Connie from California is up next. Hey, Connie, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. This is actually Madru.
Oh, hey, Madru. What's going on, Madru?
Connie had to go and pick up her grandson, so okay. I'm actually going to basically tell you exactly what she got. She's already ordered some products, but we want to be sure that we've got the right recipe, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. She went to the doctor last week, and she was told she had stage 2 breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually is in the lymph nodes, and she says it's INCASION.
Yeah.
Okay. And they want her to do chemo and all that.
Well, all right, so here's what needs to happen, Madru, with everybody that's been diagnosed with cancer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They need to get my book. They need to read the chapter in my book on cancer. You can download my book for $10, right? $10.
Okay.
And they need to, in my chapter for cancer, there are 10 questions that every cancer patient needs to ask their oncologist in the presence of a witness and a recording device.
Okay.
So she needs to get somebody in her family who's big. I want her to dress him in a suit. I want him to put dark glasses on him, and I want him to have one of those little things in his ear to make him look like a CIA agent.
Okay.
I want him to stand in back of her with his hands crossed across his chest, silent as a lamppost, while she is asking her oncologist politely these 10 questions with a recording device. Politely. And here are the questions. Well, here's a couple of them. Doctor, does your treatment cure my cancer? Number one. Well, what's that? You say it doesn't cure my cancer? Well, if it doesn't cure my cancer, what can I expect? What are the side effects that I'm going to get from this treatment? How are you going to treat the side effects? And so forth and so on. So, she needs to know, number one, whether or not the stuff shoved down her throat by the oncologist is going to work. They're not going to tell her that. They're just going to sign her up for the treatment. They're not going to tell her how effective it is. They're not going to tell her how it's going to mess with the quality of her life or what side effects it's going to make. And they're certainly not going to tell her how much money they make unless she asks them. And then they're required to tell her. So once she or any other cancer patient asks their oncologist these 10 questions, then she will know whether or not it would be prudent and appropriate for her to move forward with conventional medical treatment. Because it either is or it isn't. And, people need to be informed, and nobody is informed because nobody asks the right questions. People trust their medical doctor, and that's the stupidest thing anybody in the world can do. So, notwithstanding that, we don't treat cancer because that's illegal. And in the context of this radio program and in Youngevity, we don't treat disease. We don't even intimate that we treat disease. We offer people nutritional support to optimize the structure and function of their bodies. My recommendation for nutritional support for her, the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack and selenium, appropriate for body weight. 1 bottle of Immortalium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And as much Z-Radical as she can afford. As much Z-Radical as she can afford. This, of course, on top of elimination of the 10 bad foods. Appreciate you, Madru. Keep up the good work. Hour 2 coming up, folks. Stick around. Shout out here to Matthew Tokoff for giving us this graphic, the gluten-free beer shootout. If you're on the live stream, check it out. We roll with the punches here, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew Tokoff holding down the fort in Phoenix, Arizona, where God willing and the creek don't rise. Dr. Glidden is going to be in 2 weeks. Going back to school, baby. Going back to school. The annual Naturopathic Medical Conference, where I have to go to secure continuing education credits and talk to all of my colleagues about the wonders of network marketing and watch them laugh at me behind my back. But you know what they say, he who laughs last laughs best. I'm all good with that. Let's stick in California and go to Kevin and see what's up. Hey, Kevin, thanks for the call. Listening on KSCO, I think?
Yes, KSCO, yes, definitely.
Gotta love it. What's going on, man?
Hey, I have my daughter. She's about 25 years old, and for the last 8 months, she's been trying to get pregnant via AI, and she's had 3 miscarriages.
Okay. Well, this is like unbelievably timely here because we have a live video stream. And in the live video stream right now, we have 52 people from all over the world. There's a guy in the chat room from London. His name is Pez, and here is what Pez just wrote 5 minutes ago. My girlfriend is pregnant after 5 in vitro fertilization failed attempts. The last cycle, we did the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, eliminated the 10 bad foods for 3 months, and it worked using only artificial insemination. The doctors had written us off and could only suggest egg donor route. It just goes to show that doctors don't know expletive apart from Glidden and Wallach, of course. You got to love it. So, look, our whole understanding here is, right, that the human body knows how to fix itself, the human body wants to fix itself, and the human body is attempting all of the time to optimize its structure and function. Now, the basic supposition here is that the human body has wisdom and has intelligence. So, if that's correct, then it would be reasonable to assume that the human body has a regulator and a gauge of how much nutrition it has at any moment in time. So, if your body is nutritionally deficient, your body knows that it's nutritionally deficient. And if your body is nutritionally deficient enough, it will disallow you either from getting pregnant or from maintaining a pregnancy, because it knows that a body growing inside another body that's nutritionally deficient is going to be born with serious birth defects, if at all. So from our point of view, notwithstanding any severe trauma to the body, like falling down the stairs or something, most of the time, abortions, miscarriages, and infertility to begin with are simple nutrient deficiency illnesses, because the body just doesn't have the raw materials it needs to maintain its own health, let alone grow another body inside of itself. So, from our point of view, we go right back to the basics when we're helping people support and promote healthy reproductive systems, right? And I have to tell you, man, the reproductive tract of the human body is extremely forgiving. The reproductive tract of the human body is extremely forgiving, and it is one of the easiest things to do to support and promote that. So, the recommendation is, now I would, she's had how many miscarriages?
She had 3 miscarriages.
Okay. So, I would advise her to do this program for 6 months.
Okay.
Before she attempts to get pregnant again. 6 months. And then she has to, of course, maintain the program throughout the pregnancy. And, we're quite frankly, our recommendation is everybody needs to do this all the time, because this stuff isn't in the food and you need it. And so this is, as far as we're concerned, it's mandatory, right? So
that's right. So
the recommendation for her would be for 6 months. What's her body weight approximately?
She's about 100 pounds.
Oh, that's easy, man. So it's per month. It's one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid.
Okay.
2 selenium.
2 selenium, okay.
Yeah. 1 plant-derived minerals.
Okay.
And 1 HGH Youth Complex. That's what I'm looking for. 1 HGH Youth Complex, yep.
HGA?
HGH.
Oh, HGH, okay.
Youth Complex, yeah. Not to be confused with human growth hormone. These are the precursors to human growth hormone. And the recommendation there is 6 capsules before bed. 6 before bed.
6 before bed, okay.
Yeah. Now, right, there's 2 things that we do when we're intervening with nutrition. Number 1, we have to dial in the right recipes and the right dosages, which we just did. Number 2, it would be prudent for us and wise of us to also take steps to optimize the absorption of this stuff into the human body, because, what good does it do to, pour in 2 ounces of stuff and to, lose 1.5 ounces of it, right?
Right.
So, in order to optimize absorption of the nutrients, please recommend her wholeheartedly. Duct tape her to a chair and until she does this, man. Figuratively, of course.
Yeah, of course.
The elimination of the 10 bad foods.
The 10 bad foods, right.
Now, I have to tell you, when we tell people to stop eating the 10 bad foods, there's a lot of resistance there. But when we show people why they need to stop taking the 10 bad foods, a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'll do this right away. So, I did a free video a month or 2 ago about elimination of the 10 bad foods. You don't even have to be a subscriber to see it. It's available somewhere on my website. It's probably all around YouTube now. So, hunt that video down and have her watch it, because knowledge goes a long way here towards getting people on, the gluten-free train and the oil-free train. And once she does that, even for a couple of months, she's going to love how she feels. So 6 months of this program, then she tries to get pregnant again. And, again, I think, what the heck, Dr. Glidden is a great name for a baby, don't you?
Yeah, I think so too.
Hey, man, I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your trust. And really, I really appreciate your listening to us from KSCO. I hope to come out your neck of the woods.
I need to get a hold of you and talk to you about that coming on out. There's a bunch of us distributors out there. So,
all right, Doc. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Kevin.
All
appreciate you. Good luck.
Bye.
I love Youngevity Nation. I mean, I really do. This is one of the perks of being a Youngevity business builder, by the way, folks, is you get to meet people who think the same way that you think from all around the world. I mean, all around the world. You never would have met these people before under any other circumstances, and they're awesome people. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the saying is that you're not born into your true family, you find it. Well, I found mine inside Youngevity Nation, and there's no looking back, man. Best thing I ever did was listen to Dr. Wallach. Yeah, I know. It took me 19 years to do it, but hey, I'm a slow learner. Bernard from Georgia is back. He's got a question about Youngevity. Hey, Bernard, thanks for the call. You were live.
Hi. How you doing, Doctor?
I'm great, but I'll get better, God willing, and the creek don't rise. What's up in Georgia?
Oh, everything. I have my package. I just wanted to hear what doses would you suggest, one pertaining to the bad arthritis in the hand.
Oh, all right. So how much do you weigh?
215.
Okay, so tell me what you got, and I'll tell you how much to take.
I got the 1086 package, the CEO.
Oh, all right. So tell me your weight again, because I just forgot it.
Sure, 215.
Okay, so you want to do 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine powder, 2 level scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in 16 ounces of water twice a day.
2 scoops?
Yeah, 2 level scoops. They got to be level, not heaping scoops. 2 level scoops in 16 ounces of water twice a day.
Got it.
You want to take 2 hours to drink each dose down. You don't want to chug it down. You want to sip it slowly over 2 hours.
Okay.
All right. Do you have the liquid calcium or the powdered calcium?
What is the name of it?
Beyond Osteo FX.
Oh, yeah. I got the powder.
Okay. So you want to do 2 scoops of that. Well, you want to do... so when you make the Beyond Tangy Tangerine drink, you want to put 1 scoop, 2 scoops of the calcium in with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine each time. So 2 scoops of the powdered calcium with the 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in 16 ounces of water. Now, you can also put a little bit of orange juice in there if you want. Put a little bit of orange juice in there. That'll be better. It would make it easier for your body to absorb it if you did that. I don't know how that's going to taste, but you can fiddle around with that until you get something that tastes good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the next thing is essential fatty acids, EFAs. I want you to do 3 essential fatty acids. 2 EFAs with each meal. 2 with breakfast, 2 with lunch, 2 with dinner. That's 6 a day.
Okay. Got it.
Now, you have glucogel there or not?
Yes, I got glucose, ultimate, yeah.
Yeah, ultimate glucogel capsules or liquid?
It is capsules.
Okay.
240 capsules.
All right, so you are going to need 7 with breakfast, 7 with lunch, and 7 with dinner.
Okay.
7 with breakfast, 7 with lunch, and 7 with dinner. And finally, for the icing on the cake, I want you to do 1 more scoop of the Osteo FX, 1 scoop of the Osteo FX in 4 ounces of water immediately before bed. Immediately before bed. All right?
Got it.
That's what you need to do, man. But look, you also need to eliminate the 10 bad foods. You got to be on that or this is going to work too slowly to make anybody happy. You must eliminate the 10 bad foods. Lean on your upline for support there, Bernard. And, life is going to get good pretty quickly here, man. Appreciate your call. Stick around, folks. We're back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the party. It is a party, by the way. We're having a lot of fun in the chat room. Lots of people from all over the world. Mary Janishi, who's a registered nurse, writes, I have a client that has a diagnosis of heart disease, stent placement 2 years ago. Proximal LAD, urge incontinence, reflux, urge incontinence, hypertension, shingles, 75 years old, female. She's on all these drugs, has no energy. Her doctor wants to put her on more drugs, for goodness sake. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to just wonder. We're going to take a breath and we're going to pause and we're going to think to ourselves, how on earth is this possible? How on earth is such medical mediocrity? How on earth is such rampant progression of disease possible in the country that's supposed to have the best medical care in the world? Well, I'll tell you how it's possible. We've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. This woman, 72 years old, not young, because her body is old. I mean, because it's completely undernutrified and it's breaking down every month now. Every month something else is happening. But it's a sad testament to the status quo of conventional medical care all around the world. And, the only reason that this nonsense exists is because everybody has it. So when Joe Schmo, looks around, doesn't really know anything about anything, and sees that everybody's sick, Joe Schmo thinks to himself, well, life sucks, and it's only a matter of time until I get sick. But the only reason that people do get sick is because everybody goes to the MD, and the MD isn't trained in how to make people healthy. It's a perfect situation that these guys set up, for goodness sake. So, look, anybody that has a stent needs to be advised that the lifespan of a stent is 5 years. After 5 years, stents fail. And by the way, the stent doesn't fix the cause of the disease, right? The stent does not fix what caused the artery to clog in the first place. The stent only increases the blood flow in the artery, but it does nothing to prevent more clogs from happening. Patients need to be advised this, but they're not. It's nuts. Reflux is caused by calcium and salt deficiencies. Incontinence is often degenerative disc disease in the back, impinging upon the nerve, which in this case goes to the bladder. Shingles is a chronic immune deficiency syndrome, often exaggerated by the presence of prescription drugs in the system. So my recommendation to support and promote the health of this woman's body is 1 Healthy Brain and Heart Pack original formula. 1 Healthy Brain and Heart Pack original formula per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle of Immortalium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle of Ultimate Digestive Enzymes per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And 1 extra bottle or 1 bottle of Superlife Cal Toddy per month. Eliminate the 10 bad foods, and as her health progresses, she must advise or be mindful of what's going on with her body and advise her doctors appropriately to reduce her prescription medicines appropriately as her health starts to improve. Let's go to the phones right now. Ooh, Alaska's in the house. I love talking to people in Alaska. Hey, Megan, from up there in the cold, white north, what's happening in Alaska?
Well, it's kind of cloudy today.
What part of the state are you calling from?
What's that?
Where in Alaska are you? It's a huge state.
Valdez.
Oh, we had someone else from Valdez just yesterday, or up at Prince William Sound, right?
Yeah, was that Spencer Heston?
It might have been Spencer. I think it was Spencer, yeah.
That's actually my brother.
Well, how about that? It's a small world, isn't it?
And it's a very small town, so.
So, hey, thanks for the call. What's up?
Well, I'm actually calling about a really close friend of mine who's kind of like a second mother to me. She recently, July 13th, she got taken into the ER for a possible brain aneurysm. She was induced. She was put in an induced coma with a breathing machine, and she was in that for about 3 days.
Great.
They thought that by, I think, like the day after she had gotten, they thought that she had already passed because,
Wow.
They thought her brain was just it was just a vegetable by then, and that breathing machine was keeping her body alive.
Hey, listen,
So-
Megan, hold on. We're up against a hard break. I really want to hear this story. Stick with me. I'll bring you right back up when we come back. I appreciate your patience. Ladies and gentlemen, we're hearing it like it is from Alaska. Stick around. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Let's go back up to Canada, to Alaska. Sorry, right away. I've got Canada on my brain from the chat room. And finish up with Megan. All right, Megan, so what's the deal here? So they put her in a coma. They thought she was dead. Now she's still alive. And what's going on?
Yes. They thought she was dead. The nurses said, "Hey, Melissa, if you can hear me." And they started to bring her out of her coma just so she could give a response. Ask if you can hear me, give us 2 thumbs up. This was the very last test. They already thought she was gone and was trying to plan everything. And she gave him 2 thumbs up, blew everyone away. And then they took her breathing tube out on Friday. And so she was able to talk a little bit. She's got a lot of brain trauma going on. Now they don't believe she even had a brain aneurysm at all. They believe
Great.
it was an abscess that had burst and leaked through her brain and got down to her spinal cord.
Great.
So they were trying to treat that infection. Her white blood cells, I think, were really high. And now, just a couple days ago, she got diagnosed with septicemia, the really deadly blood infection. Now, it's getting worse. And before she was slowly starting to remember people. Now she doesn't remember who her own mother is, and she's in her 50s she's in her 50s or 60s. So right now they're just trying to treat the septicemia, and I don't really know how well it's going. As far as I know, it's actually getting worse.
Well, you want to find a lawyer because it sounds to me the major cause of septicemia in people who are hospitalized is the hospital. So, and it seems to me like a BS diagnosis that there's an abscess on the brain that bursts and goes down into the spinal fluid. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? I really don't know what they're talking about. That sounds to me like BS. It's just something about this just isn't right, and I don't know what it is, but it's not feeling right to me. I would bring in, and it's a small town, right? So this is a problem with a small town hospital. All the doctors know each other.
She's actually not here. She was on her way to Wyoming, driving, moving all of her stuff there. Luckily, she had her sister traveling with her who found her at the foot of the bed, like in the fetal position, and didn't know who she was. So she got her, this is in Calgary, Canada, is where they are right now.
Wow, we love
Calgary.
Calgary.
So supposedly this is a really good hospital that people get sent to there for surgery, and I don't know.
Well,
like that.
all right. So, look, I don't know, but look, here's the deal. Is she on a feeding tube?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Well, see, the problem with people that are hospitalized is the hospitals have rules about what they allow people to do that is not approved by the hospital, right?
Right.
So even if I tell you a good medical nutrition program to give her support, I will, but I doubt very much that they're going to allow her to do that while she's in the hospital.
Exactly.
So we're
That's what I'm hoping. I'm just hoping, and we've been praying. This happened July 13th, and we've been sending messages worldwide to pray for her, and she proved everyone wrong. We all thought she passed away, and I mean, she was still alive. It was crazy. Now it's turned for the worse again, so all we can do is pray, and hopefully if she can fight this and get through it, then to, I don't know, help her, and if there's any way that we can contact her doctor and get the okay to take supplements.
Well, all right. So what she needs to do in the worst possible scenario, you want to get the plant-derived minerals, put it into a spray bottle, and if they won't let you, give them to her internally, you can spray them on her abdomen. Spray the plant-derived minerals onto her abdomen and rub them in and let them absorb through the skin that way. That's one way to get nutrition into the body. I saw a person woken up from a coma that way. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So I know that it works, but it's not the best way to do it, okay?
So this is the plant, what is this one?
Plant-derived minerals. It's a longevity. It's liquid, just minerals. That's all that's in it. Minerals and, distilled water. Just spray it onto the abdomen every couple hours. Give it another spray, another spray, another spray. Now, in a perfect world, she would internally consume one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, two selenium, one bottle of one plant-derived minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month.
Okay.
Now, to fight infectious processes, the recommendation would be 6 killer biotic a day. 6 killer biotic a day. But there's no way they're going to let her do that when she's in the hospital. She also, of course, needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods. She needs to be salting her food regularly. And she needs to be eating food that's high in protein and high in cholesterol. Because protein and protein feeds her immune system. Cholesterol feeds her brain. So, right? And in addition to this, one bottle of multi-EFAs a month. One bottle of multi-EFAs per month. Now, good luck. Maybe you'll get a progressive doctor. Maybe Mike Phillip can, who lives up there, can, go and bust some heads. Figuratively, of course. I don't know, but I doubt very much that they're going to be very open to letting you do any of this stuff in any hospital anywhere in the world. But there's no harm in no foul in trying, right? I mean, worst case scenario, just have somebody, spray the plant-derived minerals on her abdomen. That's not gonna. I'm sure that they'd allow you to do that. In any event, that's my advice. Best of luck. Canada now really is on the phone. Andrew's been holding on for a while. Hey, Andrew, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. What's up? What part of Canada are you in, by the way?
Alberta.
Alberta, nice.
I met you back in October when you were here for the Death by Medicine.
Oh, yeah. How's your hockey team doing?
I don't pay attention. It's all a soap opera.
I know. I like to give people in that part of the world crap about their hockey teams. Because of the Chicago Blackhawks, but I don't want to go there. So you have a question about asthma, I think? What's up?
Yeah, my doctor thinks I might have asthma because I've been getting a really raspy sound in my throat when I'm breathing at night.
Yeah.
It's been keeping me awake.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if there's any other option other than inhalers.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, from our point of view, the main root cause of asthma is your lung tissue gets dried out, right?
Yeah.
For lack of a better, terminology. And what causes lung tissue to get dried out? Well, lack of nutrition, specifically essential fatty acids. So the recommendation here would be, are you doing any of the longevity stuff so far?
Yes.
All right. What are you doing?
I'm short of money because I just lost my job, but...
I'm sorry to hear that.
I've got some OsteoFX, some Beyond Tangy Tangerine, some Rebound, some Renew IQ, and I think I've got plant-derived minerals in the fridge.
Yeah, well, the one thing you don't have, you need the essential fatty acids. How much do you weigh?
About 260.
Okay, so, because money's an issue, and because you don't have this stuff yet, and because it's going to take a while to get it, you can just go to a health food store and get a good, high-quality fish oil supplement. The one that I recommend people get is the Youngevity one, because it's way better than anything you can get over the counter. But notwithstanding that, Nordic Naturals has a really pretty good fish oil that you can get over the counter. You need to take 15 fish oil capsules a day. 5 with breakfast, 5 with lunch, 5 with dinner. 5 with breakfast, 5 with lunch, 5 with dinner, okay? Now, you take that with food, or you're going to be burping up fish oil all day long, and you're going to hate yourself. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you need 2 level scoops in 16 ounces of water twice a day. 2 level scoops in 16 ounces of water twice a day. You need to drink that slowly over the course of an hour or 2. The OsteoFX, you need 1 ounce in a couple of ounces of orange juice twice a day. And I'd like to see you take the last dose of that immediately before bed. And the plant-derived minerals, 1 ounce twice a day. You can throw that in with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That's an easy way to do it. 1 ounce of that twice a day. Most importantly, though, Andrew, you have to stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats. You have to eliminate the 10 bad foods because that crap is going to interfere with the absorption of these nutrients. And you might as well not take them at all if you're going to keep eating that stuff. And that should do it. I would think that, within 8 weeks, if not sooner, there should be a noticeable improvement in the lung thing. It's probably going to happen so that you're not even going to notice that it's happening. You're probably going to wake up and a week later you're going to think to yourself, son of a gun, I've been sleeping all week long and that hasn't happened to me. That's usually how these things go. But I would give it 8 weeks, right, to judge it. But the essential fatty acids are key for you. And this may be, losing your job may be one of the best things that ever happened to you. It certainly was for me. And honest to God, years ago, I was starting a private practice, and when the real estate market crashed, I lost my funding for the business. I've been in the business a year and a half. I was a year and a half into my 5-year plan, and the bank called me and said, hey, Doc, that line of credit we were forwarding you is all dried up. It's gone. You're broke. You're done. You don't have any more money. So my business failed because I'm a year and a half into a 5-year plan. I wasn't making enough money to float, my overhead, and I was in a pickle. I was in a pickle, man. Big pickle. Like, a kosher dill, man. I was in a big pickle. And that's when, 2 months later, that's when Dr. Wallach talked to me about Youngevity. And that's when I started Youngevity. And it's been the best thing I've ever done financially. No kidding. It has been the best thing I've ever done financially. Now, you're in a good situation where you live because you have a really progressive, active Youngevity team. So if I were you, man, I would call up my upline in Alberta, and I would say, look, I want to learn how to do the business. I want to do the business. Show me how to do the business, and hit the ground running with it. You might look back a year from now and think, son of a gun, man, losing my job was the best thing that ever happened. Because for me, it really was. No BS. No kidding, man. There's a really great opportunity here, especially where you live. So my advice to you, grab that bull by the horns and ride it hard, man. Lift yourself up financially because God only knows you deserve it. Get your health back in the meantime. Appreciate you, Andrew. Stick around, folks. Houston is up next. Chris has a mystery issue. Hey, buddy. We are finishing it out, ladies and gentlemen. Another 2 hours. You've wasted another 2 hours with Dr. Glidden. Again, hope you learned something today. Let's finish it out in Houston with my mystery issue. Ooh, I can hardly wait. Hey, Chris, thanks for the call. What's up?
Hi, I got a buddy named Julio. He's got a finger issue. He's been to the doctor a bunch of different times, a bunch of different doctors, and none of them can figure out what it is. They know it's a circulation. They know it's circulation. They don't know anything else about it. Pretty much what happens is the tips of his fingers are, as far as I can tell, they're decaying on his skin.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah. So that's a really peculiar condition, and, medical science doesn't really have a name for it. They could probably come up with a couple, but remember, from our point of view, Chris, it doesn't really matter what they name things, because what they name things is just for their own convenience. It has nothing to do with the genesis of the illness or how to treat the illness, right? And, medical doctors love to name things after themselves, which is, I guess, good for them, but not really good for the patient. So when we are attempting to support and promote healthy circulation, it's relatively easy, and that would be prudent here. So the recommendation is really straightforward and really easy. Number one, he must eliminate the 10 bad foods. He can get that list for free on my website, right? drglidden.com. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Number two, he has to start salting his food so that it tastes good. Salt will increase the strength of his digestive acid, and it will increase his body's ability to digest and then absorb nutrients. And for nutritional support with extra circulation secret sauce, the recommendation is easy. It's one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 in the liquid form. One Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 in the liquid form, and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And on top of that, 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules and 1 bottle of Immortalium. So per month, 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules, 1 bottle of Immortalium, and 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 in the liquid, and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Have him ride that for 90 days, 90 for life for 90 days, 3 months, eliminate the 10 bad foods, and have him call us every couple of weeks with, a track record, and he can see how he does. And remember, Chris, this is not specifically a finger, program. This is a Julio program, and it's a comprehensive holistic medical program. So have him please pay attention not only to what happens to his finger, but also to what happens to his mood, his energy, his appetite, his sex drive, his weight, everything, man. Because this is comprehensive holistic medical nutrition, which honestly beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Well, folks, we did it again. 2 hours. If you weren't in the chat room today, you missed a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun in the chat room. You can visit the live stream, video stream, thedrgliddenshow.tv. Check it out. Remember, we're upping the ante here. I posted a challenge for the chat room. I'm posting a challenge for you now. If you're listening and you're a member of Youngevity Nation, then I want you to invite 10 people to this radio program tomorrow. 10 people to the radio program tomorrow. Have them tune in to the live video stream. We're going to see what type of magic the grassroots can create. 10 people. I know there's 10 people on your cell phone list. I know that there are. Invite them all to this radio program tomorrow. We're going to have lots of fun. It's Metaphysical Thursday. I have a special guest in the first hour. He's going to be talking to us about the Christian's view of the soul and the nature thereof. How about that? We keep it real here, as real as is possible. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I am your steadfast advocate for health. I appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for turning on. Now get out there and get your health back and tell everybody in your life about this, because knowledge is power and health. And in the final analysis, that's some really good stuff. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Thanks again. Live long and prosper, and see you around campus.